Welcome to another deep dive. Today we're journeying into a realm of breathtaking fantasy, some puzzling mysteries, and the profound, often unexpected challenges that, come with extraordinary gifts. Our
Mhm.
mission: explore the captivating world created by Dr. Alain Lescar. He's a fascinating author who really blends academic rigor with, just amazing imaginative storytelling. We're going to unpack some intriguing excerpts from his latest work.
Indeed. Dr. Liscar, he's not only a full professor of French and literature at Point Loma Nazarene University, specializing in sci-fi and fantasy, but he's also a creative force himself. He's done academic work on figures like grisettes in French literature, those impoverished seamstress women, and he's just seamlessly transitioned that scholarly depth into his own fiction, like the fantasy shorts Chessmate and Follow Fellow and the sci-fi story Cybernecat.
Yeah.
It's a great example of, how that deep understanding of literature can really enrich these incredibly vivid narratives.
Absolutely. And for this deep dive, we're focusing right in on book 2 of The Adventures of Candice Holloway, specifically that story, Follow Fellow. As we explore, you'll encounter these magical landscapes under threat, some ancient, very wary tribes, a mysterious quest, and maybe most compellingly, a very human struggle with the responsibility and, the personal cost of a powerful new gift. Get ready for some surprising insights into creativity, generosity, and that delicate balance needed to navigate a world full of wonder, but also peril. Okay, let's dive into this opening scene because it sets the stage beautifully. Candace steps through a gate, right? And the description, wow, it's absolutely breathtaking. She's entranced by the ethereal beauty of the valley and the surrounding snow-capped peaks. The landscape is so vivid, a meandering path invites exploration. You've got playful ferrets dart among the stones, and then this regal white deer appears, moving with this, otherworldly elegance. It sounds utterly idyllic, like stepping into a painting.
Yeah, but what's fascinating is how quickly that tranquility just shatters. It really establishes the underlying tension of this world almost immediately. Before Candace can even really absorb it all, the silence breaks. You hear the approaching gallop of horses, then the baying hunting dogs. It creates this disturbance that sent the birds into a frenzy, right? And the white deer, it doesn't just panic. It shares this knowing look with Candace before vanishing. That abrupt shift from peace to immediate peril, it signals a dark presence. It hints at a bigger conflict, some kind of threat that maybe even the land's magic can't completely ward off. Makes you wonder, is this normal here, or is it tied to her arrival?
That's a great point. It pulls us right into the conflict. So, after this dramatic entrance, Candace meets a wee elf with sparkling eyes, and he quickly gives her the lowdown. This enchanted forest, despite looking beautiful, is under a terrible spell. Its beauty is fading, its magic is literally being drained away by dark forces. And the elf, looking at Candace with hope, says she, with her special gift of creativity and connection to the magical, is believed to be the key. The one who can break the spell. Classic hero's call, right? And Candace, she bravely accepts the challenge.
Which immediately brings up a big question for us. What is this gift of creativity exactly? In a world with tangible magic, how does it work? How will she use it? It's clearly not just, being good at drawing. Dr. Lesgard seems to suggest something deeper, a real connection to the world's magical fabric. But the quest isn't only about magic. As they prepare to go deeper, the elf warns her. This land is home to two indigenous tribes, the Dodler and the Questionable, and they are quite suspicious of outsiders. They've been here for generations. Intricate way of life. So this adds a whole layer of social diplomatic challenge. She has to win their trust, convince them she's not a threat, and that can be just as hard as fighting dark magic, maybe harder.
Yeah, so the land's under threat. Candace might have the key, but it's not just about spells. Interspecies relations, could be just as tricky. And speaking of the tribes, this next bit gets really interesting. It introduces a fascinating dilemma. The Dodler tribe and the Questionables, they live on a small hummock overlooking the valley, and the text mentions there's a full library about them and 1,038 tales with living illustrations. That's not just a throwaway line. It suggests this incredibly rich, ancient culture, maybe even magically animated stories, a deep history.
Exactly. A deep history, deep knowledge of their land. And yet, despite all that, they're instantly on high alert. When a small two-legs creature, which they probably assume is Candace at first, appears at the gate. We hear the worried Dodler and Swami Questionable debating. Is it an invasion? A prelude to a great assault? Their first reaction is just intense fear and suspicion. It feels primal, understandable. Protecting their home. Dr. Liscart really taps into that universal instinct, protecting your way of life from the unknown. It highlights the challenge Candace faces, and the names Dodler and Questionable, they sort of tell you something right there, don't they? Cautious, scrutinizing.
That's a great catch about the names. It's like built into who they are. So, in their caution, they decide, okay, we need more data on this walking critter. They're going to track it by scent. And the text emphasizes that Cree animals, presumably these native magical animal creatures, can smell humans at a higher sensitivity than their species. That detail tells you a lot about the world, doesn't it? These creatures are just so attuned to their environment. Humans can't easily sneak around. As they follow the scent, they find this trail of blood, like raspberry fruit spread in the grassland.
Mm.
But it leads them not to Candice, but to an injured he-boy, which adds this whole new layer of mystery. It complicates everything for the tribes.
Right. This boy's parallel journey is fascinating because it completely flips the perspective. The tribes see the outsider, Candace, maybe, as a threat. But here's another outsider who is just as scared and lost. He's described so vividly, too, makes him really stand out. Dark, wavy copper hair with a long white lock, pale face, round freckled nose, frowned intensively eyebrows, rose cheeks also covered with freckles, a slight dimple. He's clearly hurt. His left bleeding arm is causing him distress. And when he sees the dawdler in questionable, he turns even paler and just runs. He feels out of place in this strange land. His fear mirrors the tribe's suspicion, but from the other side. It emphasizes that universal feeling of displacement, the difficulty of these encounters for everyone involved.
That contrast is really powerful. A human, just as vulnerable and scared as the Cree animals might be of him. And the creatures, despite their sharp senses, they move at a slug pace, like a slow motion movie. So they can't catch him. He vanishes into the woods right where Candace disappeared earlier. Mr. Dodler and Swami Affable are totally stumped, equally surprised. They suspect magic, and they decide, okay, we need a council meeting. We need to figure out how to close this gate down. This isn't just a plot twist. It adds layers of uncertainty, fear. Now, the tribes aren't just wary of one outsider, but maybe two, and this mysterious gate. It makes Candace's diplomatic mission even harder. And now there's another human maybe to deal with or find.
Exactly. It raises the stakes significantly. Their first reaction was alarm at one creature. Now, with two arrivals, a blood trail, their focus shifts to securing the border, which could totally block Candace's mission, right? And this subplot, it suggests maybe the gate itself is part of the problem, a vulnerability that dark forces could use. It makes you think the threats here are multifaceted, not just a spell, but maybe a breach in their defenses, the impact of outsiders.
So we've seen the external challenges, cursed forest, wary tribes, this mystery boy. Now let's circle back to Candace's personal power, that gift that brought her here and the unforeseen tests it's about to put her through. The story returns to Candace, and she's ready to embrace her special gift. She gets this elegant badger paintbrush from an ivory elf pawn. Using dew and a palette, she's about to make her first creation. It's a moment full of potential, discovery.
And this is where Liscott really starts exploring what her creativity is. She paints a basic green and red birdhouse. Simple, right? Benevolent. But once it's done, it adapted itself with the shade and shine of the spot, mixing in a rather artistic manner. It has some assisted magic, so it's not like raw omnipotence. It needs tools, intent, maybe it resonates with the world somehow, a co-creation. And immediately, like clockwork, two hummingbirds, Calibri and Rufus, appear, flying at 55 beats a second. They thank her profusely for the water and lodging. So her gift isn't just pretty, it's immediately functional. It has a direct impact.
Right. And this is where it gets really fascinating, I think, for understanding the ethics and consequences of power, not just for Candace, but for us, for you listening. Candace is totally elated by the hummingbird's praise, and when they ask, she immediately paints a feeder next to the house. But even then, the elf pawn, who's watching, he tries to warn her, whispers, "You shouldn't indulge all requests. They need to do their part of the work." Candace just brushes him off. I don't care. I can do it. I don't mind.
It's such a classic setup for a dilemma, isn't it?
Yes.
That eagerness to please versus, the wisdom of maybe setting some boundaries.
It raises that profoundly important question. What happens when you have a power that lets you fulfill every request so easily, with seemingly no effort from the requester? The pawn's warning. They need to do their part. That's powerful. True help empowers. It doesn't just provide everything. And the birds, well, they clearly take advantage. They escalate their demands immediately. Candace is all absorbed by her work. She paints tiny flowery sugar cubes in the feeder, then a nest with cozy cotton balls, then shutters for privacy. Then finally, a garret above the house to keep our insect stocked for wintertime. And each time, the birds just lavish her with flattery. Dream house, masterpiece. They're basically egging her on. It's like any system rewarding instant gratification.
Yeah, you can almost feel her energy draining with each new request, even while the praise feels good. By the time they ask for the garret, she's really exhausted. The birds, they sense it, so they sweeten the deal. You'll be entirely done, Feeninette, and we shall not bother you anymore. That idea of just being finished, getting relief from the demands, it pushes her. She throws the last remnants of her strength into it. It stops being pure generosity, doesn't it? It becomes this desperate need for completion to make the asking stop. Makes you think, how many times have we pushed ourselves to exhaustion, not for passion, but just to satisfy others? Or just to get it done?
The outcome is so striking. It's a stark warning about unchecked generosity, about exploitation when power doesn't have boundaries. When the garret's done, she's just drained, sitting on the forest floor, can't even speak, leaning against an oak trunk. And the birdhouse, once simple, now looks humongous. It's like a visual symbol of the effort she poured out, way out of proportion. The pawn, he's worried. He mumbles, "You shouldn't have done all this nonsense work. You need to rest now, and what will come from it, I couldn't say." As Candice loses consciousness, the two hummingbirds, they're closing the door and shudders without even looking back, just gone. She falls into this deep, uncomfortable sleep, a cold draft in her neck. It's chilling, really poignant. The cost is so clear. Her power was used up and she's left depleted, abandoned. It's like a Faustian bargain almost. Instant gratification leading to this huge, unforeseen cost.
Wow. What a journey into Candace's world we've taken just in these excerpts. We've seen this enchanted land in peril, the complexities of meeting these wary tribes, and yeah, the unforeseen, really draining consequences of using this powerful gift. That initial awe, the excitement of her power, it just gives way to the harsh reality. Exhaustion, the burden of giving without limits, it forces you to look beyond just the surface of a magical quest.
Definitely. This deep dive, it really highlights how seemingly simple solutions, simple acts of generosity, when they aren't moderated, when there are no boundaries, they can lead to really complex, even self-destructive problems. Dr. Lescart isn't just telling a fantasy story here. He's pushing us to think about that balance between being helpful and preserving yourself. And the huge responsibility that comes with powerful abilities. It's a strong metaphor, maybe for artists, maybe for leaders, where that desire to create and please can turn self-destructive if you don't watch it.
Absolutely. And it leaves you wondering, right, what will Candace wake up to? Her energy's gone. How's she going to navigate the tribes, the spell in the forest, without that immediate creative power? And what does it mean to create something, bring it to life, only for that creation to take on a life and a cost of its own, especially when you're the only one paying that cost? Dr. Lescart leaves us with so much to think about: the true nature of power, generosity. What stands out to you from Candace's story? How do we find that balance between giving and, well, not giving ourselves away completely? We'll leave you with that thought. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.